my goodness, it's time for another Pele report. Whew! Time's flying by, man. November 27th of 2019. It's going to be December before we know it. Oh, por Dios. Anyway, today, Neptune stations and goes direct. And I can talk about that at length. Maybe I'll get to that. But, it went up June 22nd to 18 degrees 44 minutes of Pisces. And then it went retrograde. Back down to now, it's stationing at 15 degrees 55 minutes. It goes retrograde almost half the year, right? And then it's going to go direct, and it's going to go all the way up to 20 degrees 57 minutes, almost 21 degrees of Pisces. By the summer solstice, well, June 22nd, okay, of 2020, it's going to go retrograde again. So, yeah, we can look at that. Maybe I'll mention that a little further, because there's so many aspects going on. I mean, besides that going direct, today Venus is in square to Chiron. She went into Capricorn, squaring Chiron. She's going to go up, and by Monday, she's going to conjunct the south node of the moon up there in Capricorn. And also on Monday, Jupiter is going to join Venus, Pluto, south node, Saturn in Capricorn. That's kind of a little bit of what the mantra for, came out of today is Jupiter entering Capricorn. It's going to be there for a year. It's been in Sagittarius for a year. So, it's a pretty big shift that we're all feeling right now. The other aspect that I really want to talk about today is this Mercury is moving through Scorpio along with Mars. But Mercury is, a little farther up there, and it's coming into a nice sextile with Saturn and Pluto. So Saturn is going to be on Friday, Pluto on Monday. It's in trine to Neptune, so we've got, beautiful Mercury aspects happening all week. And then that Venus is not only on that south node, but she's trine Uranus over there in Taurus. So, it's another beautiful situation. We got some very nice aspects, sextiles and trines, Jupiter moving on, into Capricorn. And then by next Tuesday, Venus comes into a sextile with Mars. So, whoop-de-doo. In the meantime, the moon, moves into Capricorn tomorrow. So the moon is hitting Jupiter and then Venus, okay, and then by Friday, it's going to occult, okay, Saturn, and then Pluto. So there may be you may be feeling a little different, on tomorrow than you do Friday, yeah? Okay, and then by Saturday, she moves into Aquarius, and, moving right on along. By Monday, she is in Pisces. So let me just look at the camera and talk about all that. All right, everybody. So, well, let's first just talk about this retrograde Neptune, direct Neptune. What are we talking about? Okay, and basically, Chiron, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, they all spend almost half their time retrograde. And so it is that they make very little progress into new degrees. You can think of, the astrological mandalas, the Sabian symbols, each degree, or moving, over a fixed star. They can spend a year going back and forth. A Neptune transit takes 3 years. I mean, if you've got anything in the middle of Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, or Sagittarius, you've been experiencing Neptune. Confusion, opening, chaos, what's going on? I want to take off into the clouds, but I've still got a body here on Earth. And, oh my goodness, Neptune is very powerful in his home sign, Pisces. And to me, Neptune is love. Pisces is love. This is multi-dimensional consciousness. It's the collective unconsciousness. It is the unity of all life, of love. You know, what binds, you know, all of life, all of the cosmos, the galaxies, the multiverse, into the unified field theory. So it's the rules, the crown chakra, opening our highest, you know, energy fields, you know, into the fifth dimension, the sixth and the seventh, the eighth, the ninth, where we are not in polarity, where it is all one. There are no egos. There's no individual selfhood. Okay, so, you know, when Neptune moves forward, it opens us to awe and wonder and new dreams. And, you know, so this, you know, it moving direct now is just like, whoa, we're going to be, you know, kind of, you know, getting in some new downloads. Very, very powerful, especially after it gets back to where it went retrograde in the first place. It went up to 18 degrees. So we've still got like from 15 to 16 up to 18. Okay, it's not really going to hit new territory until like March. And then it goes 18, 19, 20 degrees, and it's like, oh, it's going to be great. And then it goes retrograde. Retrograde is like digesting. It's like, you know, you eat your food, you get your new food, okay, and then it goes down in and you have to digest it. You have to see what's real, what's not real, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what is nutritious, what is toxic. Okay, you know, you go through this. Yeah, I just thought of that, but that's a great analogy, man. Retrograde is like digestion. Call it redigest or something, you know. Anyway, so you go in, and so we've been in this period of time since last June of digesting, you know, of reflecting on our connection, you know, and our meditations and our visions and our dreams and you know, what is possible, what's real, and what's BS, what's fantasy, what is like never going to happen here in the third dimension, okay, and what is, it's like, so yeah, we're all kind of, you know, always in process of integrating our spiritual body with our animal body. You know, our higher self and our lower self, you know, our divine self and our earthly self, you know, Neptune and Venus, you know, these are the octaves. So that's, you know, that's what's happening. So like when it's stationing direct now, you know, we have, you know, it's going to be moving forward. So, and what's happening? You know, Mercury is trining that Neptune. Venus is coming in, you know, into a sextile. The Saturn and Pluto are sextile. It's like this it's an opportune time, actually, for really, you know, using, you know, love and unity consciousness and what is good for the whole collective universe. And that kind of brings us into our mantra for today. It brings us into Jupiter. Jupiter used to rule Pisces before they discovered Neptune. So there's a connection even between Jupiter and Neptune. And now Jupiter has been in his home sign for a year, Sagittarius, expanding our consciousness to embrace greater, wider truths, greater natural laws, understanding the nature of our existence through philosophy, religion, meditation, intuition. And so this is what I really feel like our mantra today is also about. That we intuitively know what is right and what is wrong. Now, when we first come to Earth and we first come into the third dimension and we're in this consensus stage of reality, 3/4 of the population, it is good to learn, just like, you know, kids learn. Don't run out in the street, okay? It's not like it's an automatic when you're youthful, when you're new. So there is This is why we have models. We have political leaders. We have religious leaders. We have business leaders. I mean, these are models. We have parents. Our parents are our first role model, right? Capricorn has to do, okay, with the authority figures that we were first brought up with. So we do learn as kids, and even through our first few lifetimes, in a body on planet Earth, what is success and failure, right and wrong, good and bad, and it's just like, yeah, this is morality and ethics. These come into play right here with Sagittarius, Jupiter, and Jupiter moving into Capricorn. Because Sagittarius is the natural laws, and Capricorn is the implementation on planet Earth of institutions and judges and courts and, laws to implement and to, bring, these natural laws into earthly laws. So just Jupiter right at this cusp right now. It's like super very powerful. And we can see it. This is what we're going to be seeing all through 2020. As Jupiter moves through Capricorn, comes up to hit Saturn and Pluto. Right now, though, we have Mars and Mercury both in Scorpio. The sign of the whistleblower. The sign of the, let's, look at the dirt, look at the shadow, look at the dark side, talk about what, the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. Bring up the secrets. And Venus on the south node of the moon. Jupiter's also coming up to the south node of the moon. This is bringing up a lot of past stuff that we're going to be needing to look at, deal with, work with. And I think that it also, of course, has so much to do with corruption. Corruption. The exposing of the abuse of power, of using power, using authority, using money, for self-fulfilling, ends rather than looking at this Neptune. What is good for the whole? What is good for the many? This is like this whole thing of this age of Aquarius. Nobody gets there first. We all are on spaceship planet Earth together. And somebody can't live in paradise as long as the oceans are polluted and the air is polluted. You're not in paradise. You may isolate, okay, but the idea here is that we're all going here together. Together. So I want to think of, that in the mantra today, what's, right and wrong and good and bad is as clear as the nose on your face. Oh, my face, right? We want to say the mantra to ourselves, okay? It's like, so, it's good to look in the mirror, look at your own nose, and it's like, we know intuitively. If you're listening to this report, you're not in the consensus stage of evolution. And we break out into the individuated stage and then the spiritual stage. And a quarter of the population breaks out of needing external laws and rules, religions and commandments and, these things because we individuate and we become our own authority. We develop that intuitive capacity. And to me, the intuitive capacity is also as clear as the nose on your face. The more that you really focus and listen and accept and trust your intuition, the more clear things become. To me, good, right? Good and bad, right? What's right and what's good is very simply life affirming. Life supporting life. Like running out in front of a car, running out in the street is going to kill you, right? So it's wrong to run out in front of this car in the street. Okay, I mean, there are just very, it's just what is going to help the rainforest grow? What is going to help the fish in the ocean? Okay, it's not polluting, it's not littering, it's, and let's look at our relationships, and love. What is supportive? What is love? If it's done out of love, even leaving somebody, okay, can be done with love, can be done out of love. It's like, this relationship is not, it's holding you back. It's holding, it's holding us back from our evolution. So life is ever, it's like the flower, growing from a bud and blossoming. And so this evolution leads to, personal self-expression, coming into our fullest creative, amazing beingness, and then expressing it, sharing it, creating stuff. Painting, writing, speaking, acting, dancing, whatever, just like creating new stuff. This is life. Life is always creating new stuff. and if something is blocking, stopping, smothering, squeezing, denying this expression and this expansion and this evolution, well, then we know that it's wrong. It's bad. It's like, hello. So, this is not to say, I'm just coming up with this now, the sun rises and then the sun sets. So we come into this full expression, and I think that the other part of it is that we then devote our fullest, wholest, and completest self-expression to the collective, to our in lakesh alakin, I am another you, to others. So then it comes into service, giving, healing, teaching, lifting, inspiring, all those goody woody things. Yeah. And so, it's like the flower, comes up, but then it's like, yeah, everybody gets to look at the flower. So like the flower is like, hey, here I am making you happy, and come smell me, because, my existence and my purpose, is to make this planet more beautiful and make you more happy and support life or whatever, right? So, the flower even kind of gives itself away. And so this is this, turn between, I've talked about it, between Scorpio and Sagittarius, from self-consciousness into transpersonal consciousness. And now Jupiter is moving in, farther beyond that. So, and then we look at the opposite. We look at, corruption. We look at abuse of power. We look at, people holding on, and wanting too much control and wanting to dominate, and, not building themselves up to their peak and then giving it away. No, building themselves up to the peak and holding on to it. It's like, no way, this is my money, this is my time, this is my, my life force, whatever. It's all me, hanging on. This is kind of patriarchal, right? And this is why we're having, all these corrupt political figures, come up, and, the corruption is popping up in business and politics, whether it's Facebook or Google or, the government, the U.S. or Israel or South America, the corruption in Hong Kong. Everything is, people are doubting and questioning, and this Mars, Mercury, and Scorpio is just like really taking stabs at the Me Too movement. It's just like, it's just like all about, are we in a way pro-life? Are we prolific? Are we supporting the building up? And I guess then, as long as I got you, again, it also has to be kind of an intuitive thing where we also see It's like, okay, this person has reached their maximum, creative potential, and it's time for them, to be like the apple that falls off the tree and gets eaten, or the flower that gets picked and put into a bouquet. There is this point, and I think it's really between the individuated stage and the spiritual stage of evolution, where you reach this peak of I am maxed out, and now I have to take my next maximum is actually having to do with surrender, allowing, accepting, healing, sharing, giving, serving, sacrificing, however you want to define this giving of self to the whole, back to the whole. So we absorb and we draw and we build in from the whole, and then after many lifetimes, we let it all back out again. Anyway, I'm getting lost in my own Mercury, Neptune, blah, 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 blah. So, coming back to Earth, coming back to the moon, okay, by Friday and Saturday is in Capricorn. We've got Moon, Venus, Jupiter's going to be there, the south node of the moon, Saturn, and Pluto. It's going to be a super powerful Christmas, folks, okay, when the sun gets also into Capricorn. I mean, this eclipse season is just going to be like, oh, wow, when that sun comes around, to the moon's nodes, and we have our eclipses happening. A lot of people are going to get called to the carpet. It's time for us to call ourselves to the carpet. Examine ourselves. And then it's also time for the ones that we love, okay, to, bring it. And it reminds me of, the 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. This is so powerful. It's one of the 4 agreements. Being impeccable with your word is really not, it's not about gossip. It's not necessarily about spreading, crap about, mudslinging or, bringing people down so much as it can be direct communication done with love and nonviolent communication, really speaking to the person that I feel hurt me. Like what you said hurt me. What you did hurt me, and I'm going to talk to you about it. Not your friends, your brothers and your sisters and your Facebook and your this, that, or the other thing. I'm going to, we're going to, come into direct, being impeccable with your word, saying what you mean, and having the courage to say everything that, you're feeling, to bring in clarity. Honesty, is the best policy. Oh, God. That just came in. I know that's my mom. Honesty is the best policy. Yeah. Anyway, Jupiter, Sagittarius, we've had a year, okay, of coming into truth and honesty. Now we need to stand up and speak it out. Because what? When we don't, when we say a little white lie or we keep a little secret, pretty soon you got to do another one to keep that secret secret. I had to make another secret, to tell, to keep this little white lie from being exposed. I had to tell another little lie. And then that lie wasn't so white. It was a black lie. It's like, so it like builds and builds and builds and builds. And so this Capricorn, this next year, 2020, is about peeling back the layers, okay, of the secrets or the half-truths or the lies or the BS or, whatever has been, the south node of the moon especially is the past. So a lot of this can be our past in this life, past lives. It can be the patriarchy, the last 6,000 years. But, there's a lot that has been buried that wants to surface, to be cleared, purged, cleaned away, to make room to make way for the new paradigm. So, there's right and wrong and good and bad, as clear as the nose on my face. I need to stand up and speak it out before it gets too late. Do not hold back. Do not wait. Jupiter is on our side. This week is a beautiful time. Speak with your loved one. Even speak with your enemies or whoever. But like this is the, it's time to come together. Work together for the purpose of life. Ow! Namaste. Aloha. So much life.